You're listening to the Para House Entertainment Network. Come join us as we take you deep into the fire to the paranormal realms of hauntings, UFOs, ETs, alien abductions, strange creatures, and the vastness of universal consciousness as we continue to seek what is not supposed to exist as we search for the truth that only comes from going into the fire. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Into the Fire. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We have an extraordinary guest tonight, Mr. Nick Groff, and he's waiting to come in. But first, we're going to say hi to the co-host, Billy EGB Sims, and also our hound dog, Melvin. And Billy, I'm going to let you introduce the guest you got with you also. Say hi.
It's my better half, Tanya.
Hi.
And Hound Doggy, what are you up to, Melvin?
Trying to stay out of trouble, but you know how I am.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, we'll try to keep you contained. All right.
All right, I'll keep my pants on.
And welcome everybody into the chat room and everything. Billy and Melvin will be watching that, and I'll try to get it now and then. As I mentioned earlier, we have an excellent guest tonight, very extraordinary person, and I can't wait to get him on. I'm going to do a sort of a bio. I'm just going to give a quick few highlights about him to this extraordinary man. Some of you may know some of these things, and some of you may not. But Nick Groff is a paranormal investigator. Duh. Co-founder of GAC, Ghost Adventures Crew, star of his own new show on Video Space, Deathwalker. Also, Nick has starred in Paranormal Lockdown UK, Ghosts of Shepherdtown, Paranormal Lockdown, and Ghost Adventures, which he co-created, co-hosted, and executive produced for 10 seasons. He is an author of his own autobiography book titled Chasing Spirits, The Building of Ghost Adventures Crew. He is a singer with 2 albums to his credit, The Other Side and The Spiritual War, Good versus Evil, through his production company, Groff Entertainment. He has had a near-death experience. He is also, which made him, what he believes, made him a little bit more sensitive to the supernatural. He teamed up with Mike Couch with the Lost Limbs Foundation to create a new TV show called Unlimited Journey. This series was to help raise money for amputees, and it can be seen on Video Space and also Amazon. I'm not sure if you've probably know all these things and finding out all about Nick, but I can tell you that I am so glad to have the opportunity to have met Nick and sat down and talked to him about many things a few months ago at Octagon Hall, which I'm sure we're going to be talking about later. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Mr. Nick Groff. Nick, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Good. Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate the intro.
That's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I mean, you have done some extraordinary things, and I mean, I know I left out some stuff, but man, I know that you have done some incredible things and continue to do some, and we're going to talk about that tonight too. So, which would be exciting because I know you've got a lot of good things happening.
Yeah.
And again, we're just pleased to have you on there. I'm going to say a little bit of hi to everybody out in the chat room. Hi, Chris Garcia. Hello, Leanne. Hi, Sherry. Beth Allen, Leanne, Tim. Who else is in there? Just for a quick shout out. Tawana Bear, Frank Lynn. And if I missed you, I apologize. But we thank you for listening. I know it's just growing by leaps and bounds right now. So Billy's going to be the master of that. And okay, Nick, let's take it away, buddy.
Cool. I feel like it's been a wild ride so far leading up to this point. You know, honestly, my whole life, it's weird when you cross paths with people, but honestly, I couldn't be more privileged to have met you, Bear. Honestly, like through my journey, I met thousands of people, you know, different people with like incredible stories from life-death experiences to paranormal encounters to UFO to cryptid to ghosts, whatever the claims are. I love meeting new people, but Bear, like honestly, it's been a privilege coming to the Octagon Hall and just meeting you and your whole team and family and everybody there, you know. So
Well, man, thank you so
yeah,
very much. And that means a lot to us. That means a lot to us. And thank you. Same goes here. Because, you know, having the opportunity to sit down and talk to you, and I know that through all the things what you and I both kind of call life's journeys, and I want you to sit down and explain that a little bit too. But you know, we've all changed and moved different ways. And I know you get into the ufology, you get into crypto, you follow it all. A lot of people don't know that about you, and also about consciousness, which is so, you know, important nowadays and where we want to go. So, can you go into that a little bit and tell us what you're doing with that?
Yeah, I would say like 10 years ago, even 10 years before that, I had a different mind perspective on everything. Just let's talk about life in general. Forget the paranormal for a second, just life. Because I think it's as simple as that. As each human being, we have to go through this journey. We have to evolve. We have to grow and learn information for the most powerful thing in the world, the brain, right?
Yeah.
And then it gets into the consciousness and so on. But I think when we start looking at stuff a little bit deeper and we analyze, and I can say at this point in my life, my perspective on everything has changed. Everything has changed. And maybe it's because my soul is awakened. maybe,
Yeah.
maybe it's just like when you get to a certain point in your life and you start to realize the simplicity of things that are more important in life than the bigger scope of things. I think that's when you start honing in your skills and ideas and theories, and it becomes like something more powerful that you're meant to set out like to do in life. And I think when you can wake up every day and look at the own mirror image of yourself and know and accept that and be completely content with that, I think that's like key, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we're evolving, because we're able to take a hold of that, take a hold of the rings in our own journey, because you can only go so far. Like the journey takes you, but you have to make the choice to every day wake up and do, you know, pave the road a little bit more. So I've been doing that for the last 4 years, maybe. I really had this like awakening, but like honestly, recently, I feel like my soul is just like the whole scope of everything. It's like the consciousness in the back of my brain has been awoken, and it's a beautiful thing, honestly. But I think all of this that we're talking about, you know, everyone asks me all the time, like, what do you think happens when you die? What's beyond that? Or even space, what's beyond the infinity of stars that we see in our 2D little world that we're living in?
Yeah.
You know, what about the other dimensions, the alter realities, the consciousness, the energy? Energy can't be destroyed. You know, we can go down the rabbit hole all day and talk about every single theory, idea, possible scientific fact, whatever you want to do. But I think it's sometimes life isn't meant to be figured out. It's the intuition that you have, and you hone in that skill and that life, and you try to put the positive ripple effects into this universe before it's your time to go in this body. But it's the imprint you leave behind as a human being that's going to be more powerful than anything else, you know? And I think at the same time, it's the discovery of what we're meant to be like doing, like you, Bear, at your location there. It's one of the most incredible locations I've ever been to. And
Thank you.
I had my own UFO experience there.
Which is
That
crazy.
took me off guard, man. I'm there looking for ghosts and talking about different theories, but we got into the cryptid, we got into the UFO. We'll talk about this in a second, but UFO, space, time, all that stuff fascinates me since age 13.
Yeah.
That's how I got my start in all of this. And I think going through location after, I mean, hundreds of locations, like some people won't even sleep the night in. Some are scariest places that are like the soil has been tainted from bloodshed or like horrific history, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've been to them all, but like your location, honestly, so rich in history,
Yes.
just encompassing everything. And I think that's what fascinates me more is there's only been a couple of locations on my journey that have really, really fascinated me to the point where I want to come back, learn more, keep exploring it, I don't know, just keep growing from that, because I was there and I was standing outside trying to get like a simple drone shot. I was standing out there, my cousin Justin and I, who it's just Justin and I who films the whole entire show. And then I forgot the other gentleman's name. Who was standing there with me?
John.
John
that's
was
right.
there with you. Yeah.
Yeah. John, great guy. We're talking, and I think we're talking about dark matter and some crazy stuff or whatever. And I'm like, hey man, I just like, we're just chilling there. It's like three guys chilling there having a conversation on a sunny day, clear sky. We're looking at the building, and we got our little drone on the ground, just trying to operate. And I'm looking, I'm like, have you ever had any UFO experience? Like, I've been coming here for 7 years, you know, I think is what he told me at the time. And I look up, I'm not even joking. I look up right above the building. It's like this thing warped in out of space, right? And it's this transparent, like, only thing I can claim it to be is like a UFO, like this I don't know, this transparent thing that's hovering, and it just stops in midair, and it's just hovering right there. Now, what was fascinating to me was I think they were hawks or something, or crows, or whatever the birds were.
There's all kinds of birds around the hawks and buzzards too.
Buzzards, I think that's what they were. They were circling right below it, and they were circling around it, and which was weird because it made me believe some sort of physics. Like it wasn't just like a hologram or some transparent thing. I guess you could try to explain, right? I knew it was some form of a spaceship or something that had I don't know. So I'm seeing this thing and it's just hovering there, and I see these birds flying below it and around it, and it's moving slowly like this. And then I look at Justin, I'm like, and it took me a couple seconds to register it. You know? It's like, and I look at John and I'm like, do you see what I'm seeing? And he's like, yeah, no, I see it. And they're both saying, yes, we see it. And we look like we were like, I don't know, I like Encounters of the Third Kind or whatever, that Spielberg film, you know, waiting for the piano keys to play.
Right.
We're looking at it, and I'm like, then it took me another second to register, get the drone up, film it. We were taking it in, but not filming it. We're supposed to be documenting. So that like instinct kicks in, and suddenly I try to get the drone up, and as we're going up, I swear this thing heard us. It heard us because it started moving this way and just went whoosh and just took off. Took off, disappeared, and then my little drone's going slowly, trying to get up and get it. I'm like, man.
You know, that's one of the things that, we've had so many different experiences, and we've all seen different UFOs, orbs, all kinds of things out there at Ottingen Hall. That's one of the wonderful things about the hall and its property, because it is a very historic place. It has had a lot of blowout. There's been a lot of tragedy there, but there's also it's been there for a long, long time, and it's got cave systems, and it is a very strange property. And you know what? It's so funny, when we're all talking about the paranormal, and I do conferences or I speak somewhere or talking with these guys and whoever else we meet, they always go, well, did you get a picture of that? And I'm going, no, because sometimes, no matter how long you do it, you can have a camera in your hand.
Yeah.
And when you see it, you just go, and then finally your brain kicks in going, hey, wait a minute, I need to get a picture of that. And it's like you said, it automatically hears it and it says, nope, I'm here to say hi. I showed you. See you later. Bye.
I'm telling you, it was amazing. It was really, really incredible. I've only seen, I think three UFOs in my life. The third one I was suspect on, but I mean, that was this experience was probably the ultimate experience for me, because the other two I felt like I could rule out as possible Nellis Air Force Base or something of high advanced technology we just don't know about yet, like a stealth bomber in the future that will be discovered or something.
Right.
But this was definitely from not this world. Like the higher intelligence behind the physics of this, how this moved, the transparency, the holograph, like just, man, it was like some Predator stuff, you know?
We always say that we always say that it's all intertwined,
Mhm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
all of it. And Octagon Hall is an exact reason or a perfect example of it right there, because we get it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about the paranormal being intertwined, Nick. Maybe you can shed on that. But I always think that, as we all started off, we all had theories about this and this and this, and I find out all those theories go flying out the window as fast as they can. The longer you spend in it, you see other things all the time. But I do definitely believe that within the paranormal films, I think that you miss a lot if you're not looking at all of the things, because somewhere in the middle of that, they mesh like this.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts on that, buddy?
Yeah, I think years ago, like just starting back from early age, when I was 13, I would roll out my map in my room, listening on my boombox to Art Bell, late at night. And I'd
Yeah.
be that weird kid saying I want to go to Area 51 someday, trying to find it on my map. Obviously, it didn't exist, right? So my dad would think I was crazy when he'd walk in the room. But I don't know. I think that realistically, that's how I got my start. And then my grandmother would talk to me about abduction cases in Nashua, New Hampshire, one of the first cases that took place there that was documented. And then
Right.
also, we get into like the ghost phenomenon and stuff like that. So as I grew older, but I knew I was always a spiritualist at a young age, and I don't know, I was just a different thinker, I guess. So I would stare up at the stars, think what else is out there, I just always think outside the box a little bit differently and stuff. But I think as I grew older, I started investigating haunted locations, and then I started recently within the last, I'd say 7 years or so, into the cryptid, and then got really heavy. I've always been in the UFO space time, all that stuff,
Mhm.
but the ghost stuff obviously was kind of like a catapult for me into everything else. And then I'd say when I started creating Paranormal Lockdown and living at the location, sleeping there, going through that whole 72 hours and stuff.
Ours. Yeah.
Yeah, I started looking at stuff differently. I remember having an experience at Shepton Mallet Prison in the United Kingdom and seeing these shadow figures with my own eyes just moving from one jail cell to the next, knowing it wasn't my eyes or me hallucinating or anything. I knew that there was something of a higher intelligence. I know it was like something out of this world that was coming there cloaked to look for something like they were like more of observers. I know there's a lot of like different theories about what shadow figures are, but like my perspective on it was they were observers observing energies at locations with high amounts of tragedy or bloodshed or whatever, and that location had it. And I've witnessed that at several locations that have the same kind of similarities. So it was really interesting how I've evolved over these years, where I believe now, to answer your question, everything encompasses all in one. I think we live in a weird universe, number one. So I think we got so caught up for a long time. Maybe it's the TV shows or whatever, where we're so caught up and heavily involved into everything has to be put in a box. You know what I mean?
Right.
Cryptids here, the cryptid people over there running around in woods.
Yeah.
The UFO people over here running around looking at stars, and then the ghost people breathing in asbestos at abandoned buildings or some crap. So it's like,
Exactly.
I'm the person who's done it all, and I think at the end of the day, it's everything. We can't we're never going to evolve as human beings if we keep thinking in a box. We got to think outside the scope of what we know. And I think everything has to ripple affect one another, because that's kind of the world we live in. But I love everything about the unknown, the supernatural to the paranormal. I think it all intertwines, and I accept that. And I'm all about that. And especially in Deathwalker, the new series I'm doing now, we go into all those theories and we try to mash it together and see what it is, because it shouldn't be about one thing. It shouldn't be debunking or proving or whatever, or pushing forced narratives on people. I think it's just the perspective of a journey that we're living through, and we're just organically telling that story of what we're going through. I mean, that's what Deathwalker is. We're just walking amongst the dead, man, because we're all going to be there.
Hey, you know what? And it's a great concept, and it's how Deathwalker is out currently right now on Video Space, and you can see it. I think you did 5 of them the first time that for this first series, and I know it's going to hopefully it's going to continue on. And why don't you talk a little bit, because you got something going on with Video Space too, don't you?
Yeah, so we're I'm really excited right now because Deathwalker, yeah, we gave it a limited release, but we have huge news coming up. So big news coming up with Deathwalker. So we'll be able to announce that. I would say in the next probably like month or so. We're waiting for really big news, but get ready, international people, domestic, everything, and then we'll be able to announce that really soon. Obviously, I have to let let them announce first. I'll announce second, but I'm excited for the future of Deathwalker because, you know, sometimes I want it to be perfect. You know, we did 10 locations, 5 apps, combined 2 locations into 1 hour. But get ready because we're going to talk about more in the near future coming too. So it's shit. We're just getting started. I feel like we're just scraping the surface, you know, and
Yeah.
it only took me 40 years to get here, but I'm ready now, man. I'm ready. I'm like, you know, I'm like that guy on the spaceship saying "Rocket Man, blast me off." So I feel like we're on our next journey to discover some new things and, you know, kind of bring the community back together. I feel like the community has been so divided too, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you said that.
True.
Continue on your thought, because you know I had the same things. Community has gone a little bit weird. You know, we got egos, we got all kinds of different stuff in here, and it's not doesn't have to be that way. You know, even what people call paranormal unity, I don't even call paranormal unity. But you know, there are teams out there that help other teams do other things and try to help others become better at what they do, and also help the clients and everything else. But yeah, go ahead and talk a little bit about your thoughts on that, would you please?
Yeah, I think honestly it's very simple. Just be a good person.
Yeah, that's it.
I
Exactly.
mean, Jesus, it's like, you know, just be a good person. Like, I don't think it has to be a whole like yeah, unity coming together as far as pure unity or whatever we want to call it or whatever. I think it's more or less about us just doing what we love to do. Number one, be passionate about what you love to do. Be
Yeah.
honest, man. Just like be yourself, be honest, dress your clothes how you want to wear it. You know what I mean? Wear the beard if you want to wear a beard or whatever.
Yeah.
Just come together as far as conversating. I think it's just a matter about creating conversations with each other. There shouldn't have to be like this big uprise in trying to bring people together. I think it's so forceful sometimes. I think it's just a matter about communicating information to one another so we can learn from each other. And really, that's just a part of life.
Yeah,
So
it is.
I think
Yes.
that's where I kind of stand with it, you know. But you know, there's either negative or they're positive. It's pretty simple as that, you know. It can either
One
be
word,
yeah,
intent.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Intent.
In-
Intent.
intent,
Exactly.
man. It's all about the intent you put out there into the world because that's what you're going to get back. So
Mhm.
that's all I've been trying to do is just like bring people together, you know, for the subject matter and just to conversate. Like I even just started a group on Facebook called the Nick Groff Explorers, just about exploring. Let's come together, let's share pictures, let's talk about stuff.
Right. That's awesome.
But it's not like I'm trying to create some mob or something, you know. So
Yeah.
that'd be my old
Yeah.
young days when I was up
Yeah,
on the
you don't
trying
you
to
don't need
survive.
your own minion, you know.
No, 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 those days are way behind. I'm matured now. Yeah, no, I think honestly that's really what it's about, you know. Yeah, I mean I'm friends with everybody as far as, you know, all the pro people go and I
Mhm.
like to learn from people, you know, like yourself, Bear. I remember we had like a great conversation for like an hour. We were sitting there just talking. And
Yeah.
then my cousin Justin's like, yo, we got to film. We weren't even
Yeah.
filming or anything. And then,
Yeah.
you know, we filmed like you and I filmed, honestly, I think it was like 2 hours just talking about interviews. And we had to condense that to
Right.
like 1 minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
It was like insane. But
Yeah. Well, that's
no,
the way
that,
it goes, man, and
yeah.
that's it. But you know, it's it was a pleasure. Make sure you tell Justin I said hey. Hope he's doing all right. It is on Deathwalker, and it's nice to see that you two get to work together. And Justin does all your filming for you, everything else, and it was great. And yeah, he did hit us a few times and going, come on, we're film time.
I got to say, episode 4 of Death Walkers was my favorite, but I guess I'm being biased.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It was a great, just a great time. I don't know. I feel like there just needs to be. I want to come back and investigate more. Like I was really
The
fascinated.
door's always open for you, Nick, anytime you want.
Thank you. I definitely going to come back in the future. Man, the UFO experience has me. But also the ghost train. I remember that story being really incredible too. Talking about you should share that story because not a lot of people know that. I think we talked about in the episode if people haven't seen it, but I just love that story about you want to share it with us?
Yeah, I'd love to. Well, we were doing an Amos hunt. We do those quite often, and a lot of the chat room and other people have been there at the hall during our things where Night Stalkers helps run it. Melvin and Casey, Billy, Tanya, Steve Miller. We all get together and we try to give some people an experience in the paranormal. And we're outside. We're in between the two barns. We had a group down by the slave graveyard. And all of a sudden we look out. There's a railroad track at the very back of the property. And we look out back there and there is a mysterious train. It's just stopped there. And it's got windows all over it. And you can see people walking in and out through the train going back. So you see these shadow movements through the train. And we had I had a guy in my group that was kind of like ahead of the area of CSX, and that's a CSX track. And he goes, "Hey, wait a minute. There is no passenger trains allowed in this. This is a freight train track only." And he gets on his cell phone right away and he says, "Hey, so and so. This is I am south of Woodburn. What's on the tracks right now?" And the guy reported to him, "There's nothing on the track south of Woodburn until you get to Tennessee." And this guy goes, "Hey, I'm looking at it right here. I've seen it. It's sitting on the tracks. It's here. Don't tell me it's not here." And he says, "There's nothing on the tracks." And then we keep looking at it. In fact, Debbie Shapiro that was there that day with you also. And she takes a picture of it. And one of her people in her things take a picture of it. We got a small picture of it from far distance away. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of moves and it just disappears.
Wow.
You know, and something else, I don't even know if I got into it with you, but we were sitting out there. And while this is going on, there seems to be like little light orbs all around the woods up in the up on a hill to the right of it. We can still see the train and we can see this hill, and the guys know where it is. And I think maybe you might. We've got an open field behind the hall. We got a little woods to the left. We got a little woods to the right. And this is to the right. And we see these orbs, and it looks like all of a sudden we see people actually coming out and going into the cornfield. And the cornfield had just been cut down, and as it was cut down, this area turned a whitish blue, and these people just walked into it and just disappeared.
Just
and the whitish blue went away.
Energy right there.
And looks at me and goes, "Yeah, this guy from CSX looks to me and goes, 'Well, I'm done. I'm out of here. I've seen all I can handle.'" So he wasn't there probably an hour.
It's amazing. Yeah.
But that's the way it goes.
But that's the location though. You know, that's like the energy at that location, the history, just that whole area, the land, the location, just everything about it is really amazing. I loved it. I got to come back.
I think Bear froze up. Give him a
He
second.
did.
He'll be back.
He disappeared.
At least he's smiling.
Yeah.
UFO comes down
Yeah.
and takes
He's getting
forward.
zapped right now.
I know.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I got a question. You were talking about how you talked to your grandmother when you were younger. Did you have anybody else in your family that, talked to you about it, maybe, had interest in things like that?
Not really. It was just me from a young age, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
my cousin Justin and I, we go back, obviously since little kids. He grew up in California. I was East Coast, but I would visit him all the time. And it was interesting because he actually grew up in a haunted house too. He actually lived near the Toys R Us that's reportedly haunted near the Winchester Mystery House there in San Jose, California. So we talk
Yeah.
about all sorts of stuff like that all the time. And his his house that he grew up in was like severely haunted that I went over and slept in and stuff like that. So no, I mean that was about it. Like I said, I really didn't get severely involved into it until I took a trip to Nevada because my sister's godparents lived in Nevada, and I would talk to them about Area 51. And then one day, my sister's godfather said that his dad, before he passed away, said that he helped build the hangars out there at Area 51. So it was really interesting conversation. They talk about when they were kids, they sit on their rooftops in Las Vegas and watch the mushroom cloud go up when they're testing the nuclear bomb and stuff. Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's comedies.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and just like crazy stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I knew about Virginia City, Nevada before I got my start. When I created Ghost Ventures, I actually took a spring class. I didn't take a class trip. When I was out of class, I took a spring break trip up to Virginia City, Nevada, all the haunted mining towns. I went to the little town of Rachel. I got as close as I could to Area 51, all that stuff. But I loved it. I loved it. That's a little pug, a little mad black pug.
I don't know, but I thought I saw Twilight. I thought I saw time. You kind of go.
I was trying to get him to
Yeah.
Sorry about getting lost there, guys. I don't know if the story that I told came through or not.
It did. Yeah. No, I heard.
Okay.
I loved it.
Excellent,
Yeah,
great. But carry on so I can get caught up and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. No.
Now,
That was it. Yes.
Sherry had a question. She said that I guess she met you at Ashmore.
Okay.
And she said that you told a really cool story about how you ground yourself in the shower. And she's wondering if you would tell that story so other people could learn from that.
Yeah, I don't actually ground myself.
Is it ground or ground?
No, no, I got it, but it was funny because I was just picturing myself grounding myself in the shower. I was like,
Take some talent.
I always try to stay in the shower. Like kids drive me crazy or something. I'm like, I'm out of here, grounding myself.
See you later.
Yeah, no, that cracks me up. No, I think for a long time, I was always like one of those people that was like, negative energy can't overtake my own psyche, my mind, body, spirit, stuff like that. But I don't know, I had some weird bad experiences, and sometimes, energy lingers, even when you're around people that are just negative energy. I feel like sometimes you have to cleanse yourself of that kind of like dirty, like energy that's surrounding you. So I learned a long time ago that if you take some salt and put it in your shower bed, and you put your feet into that salt, right, and you ground out like your energy and stuff like that, kind of like electricity in a sense. And you just picture, you have to really believe it, visualize it, and picture yourself rinsing all this negative energy off you down to that salt, and then it just rinses out into the drain. So that's pretty much what I've done. I haven't done it for a long time. Everything's been good in my life. So whenever there's something that just feels like that dark little clouds hovering over you and just bad things going on in your life, it doesn't hurt to try it. It works for some people, but it's all about the intent, right? So you have to truly believe in that. Some people, it might be medallions or jewels or just like other thing, going to church or whatever works for you. I think that is the idea of your own psyche producing and putting those thoughts into that specific thing that you believe works back for you. And for me, that worked, maybe it's a good shower. I don't know.
Okay, that leads me to another question. Do you ever feel like you have something that follows you from one location to the other or home.
Yeah, I have had that experience. Years ago, it hasn't happened recently, but I've had that happen before where you'll start to notice certain things happening in the house. My old house I used to live in before I got rid of it, I basically had tons of stuff in the basement. You know, it sat on granite, so I don't know if it had something to do with the granite or the position. It was a brand new house, so I never understood why things were happening there, like they were. But I would see like weird mists on my security camera that would be in the basement, like floating in the middle of the basement and stuff like that. Um, Oh, here's a great story. So years ago, 2009, I went to a location called New Jersey Essex Mental Asylum. I think that's what it was called. And I got locked in. We went into the tunnel system. This place was massive, and it was on Ghost Ventures. And I found a morgue in the bottom of these like tunnel systems. And I got inside the morgue because I'm like, hey, if there's ghosts here, it has to be in these morgue slabs, which is kind of weird. So I got in there, and the other two guys closed me in it, and they left, and they actually got lost in the tunnel systems. And I'm not even joking. Like a half hour
That's
goes
not
by.
good.
A half hour goes by, and I'm starting to like hear things. You know, I'm hearing someone shuffle their feet on the outside. I'm hearing like some weird disembodied voices, and I swear I looked down underneath me, and I was in complete darkness, and there are four slabs. So I'm laying on the top one. I had a night vision camera shooting me, and my flash. I don't think I had a flashlight or anything like that. And I look underneath me, and there's like this white face just looking up at me. It scared me to death.
You
And
come up off the ground.
I was trying to like push the door open to get out of the morgue, and I realized that I was locked in, and I didn't think about it in the moment of getting in, saying there's no door handle on the inside. For obvious reasons, you know, when you're dead, you're dead. You don't need to get out. So that sucked. I was in there for like over an hour until they found me. But to sum it up, what happened was is I went home, and I remember getting this mask. It was around Halloween, and I came home for that location, and I put this mask on, and my cousin Justin was there, and he started taking pictures. And this massive what back then we were to call it orb, but like these ball of energies or whatever would show up in the picture. I was like, oh, whatever, you know. Like I'm always skeptical about that stuff, but like this was like a solid weird dot right here, and I was like, oh, take other pictures, nothing. Only when he would take pictures near me, this orb would show up near my head. So I'm like, all right, what's up? So I literally, my young self back then went and got a digital recorder, and I started asking questions right then and there. Just I want to like know what the heck's going
Yeah.
on, you know?
Yeah.
So at first I was like, oh, is it the mask I bought from the Halloween store, you know, or is it the location I just came back from? And I asked questions like who's here, blah blah blah, you know, typical questions, and we played it back. I'm not even joking. 3 voices came through so clear. It was it was like a kid's voice, like a little girl's voice that replied, and then another like woman's voice, and then it was an elderly like older woman's voice, you know, and it was super creepy. I'm like, all right, we're done. So we put that away, go to sleep. Middle of the night, I had 2 dogs in my room. Middle of the night, I woke up to hearing pots and pans banging around in the kitchen, and my dog's ears perk up, and I kept my door closed so they didn't like go out or whatever. And this is Las Vegas, by the way, in like a suburban neighborhood, and brand new houses. And I hear the sink starting to fill up, and I'm like, what is going on? My cousin Justin was staying at my house at that time. He's sleeping in the back room. I didn't know he was having experiences too, and he's hard of hearing. So he told me the next day he heard a woman whispering in his ear and wiggling his feet and stuff, and it would wake him up. I go to tell him, and in the moment of it happening, I jump out. I send my dogs out first, thinking it's a burglar. So I go out there, like scoping every single corner, and there's no pots or pans, and everything is just the same. There's nothing going on. And the next day I tell him what happened, and he starts telling me all these things that has happened. And I said, all right, well, something followed me home from that New Jersey's mental asylum there that I went to. And I just started realizing like weird stuff would happen. So what I did is I ignored it, and just eventually it went away. You know, it was strange. Yeah, it was really strange. I think that was around the time. Let me think back. That was such a long time ago. I've had all crazy sorts of crazy experiences like that. But it was around the same time that a guy in our neighborhood who we knew was pretty cool with my neighbors because all the houses are very close in Vegas, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I just graduated. Yeah, let me think. Yeah, 2009. So yeah, I was living there. Obviously, I graduated college in 2004, so it's way later. But there was a guy in the neighborhood who came around that everyone knew, and he was like, we didn't know why he was like kind of saying his goodbyes, and come to find out, you know, he took his own life and stuff down the street at his house, and it was really sad in the neighborhood. And I don't know, it's just a combination of things that happened. So I don't know if it was like that moment of that person,
Mhm.
you know, losing their life, or if it was, I really believe there was some kid or somebody else, like a figure that followed me from the New Jersey mental asylum that like really came attached to me, I think.
Mhm.
Because I learned later on, I'm like super empathetic to energies and intuitively like really connected in that sense. I just never really talk about it just because I don't know. I try to keep balanced and logical about a lot of things, but that was one of the reasons, you know, that I'll never forget. I'll never forget that whole story because it was just like an intertwine of different things occurring at once, you know.
And yeah, and it could have been all of them kind of doing something at
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah.
All one time, you know.
Yeah.
And Nick, I really I appreciate the story, especially when you start talking about your sensitivity and you start to gain that. You know, I mentioned a little bit about that before when I was just before I did the bio. And you were talking about you were your near death experiencer also, and I don't know if you want to go into that, but you believe that that also has something to do with you being more sensitive. And you know, as you say, as we get older and we go through all these different things, we're meant to do certain things, and that's part of that life's journey. And
Mhm.
we are here to continue the search and to continue to go to be able to grow and help people and do all that other stuff. But can you explain a little bit about your early years, what got you really into it, and what happened with this death experience, and then where it goes from? You know, we all know where it goes from there, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, age 8, I was a swimmer, and I was waiting for my sister to get out of swimming in Nashua, New Hampshire. I think it was like a YMCA or something. And my mom was reading her book at a little picnic table, and I was running around. I was a crazy hyper kid, so it was probably my only mom's break she had of insanity from me. So she was sitting there reading her book, and I drifted away, and I saw this one tree that I had to climb, and I climbed the tree, and one thing led to a next. I swung from a branch, pretty like I don't know, like 10, 12 feet, 15 feet off the ground, and the branch broke, and I ripped open. You can probably see the whole scar. I ripped open
Say it.
my
Mhm.
my left arm, and it fell on one of those cyclone, you know, fences that stick up like this. It was all
Uh,
so I hit the fence, and it just ripped my whole arm open, pretty much. Hit the ground, and I went into shock immediately. But I remember getting up off the ground and just seeing my mom, and then I collapsed, and then I got back up. And what I remember is just saying, "Mom, I love you," and then I just blacked out.
uh,
I think I remember her like looking up off her book, like right as I said, "Mom, I love you." And one thing led to the next. I just remember opening my eyes and being like I'm on the ground laying down and seeing all these faces hovering around me looking down at me, and I'm looking up at them, and it's just very, I don't know, angelic, I guess is the right word, where it's just like white light, you know, the typical thing that you hear from people saying, oh,
right on it,
bright
and
lights or whatever. For me it was just like a surrounding of people and just bright light, you know. And basically I just blacked out. It was like, I don't know, like a second, 2 seconds or so is what I remember, and I just blacked out. And then yeah, I think I maybe woke up once in the ambulance or something, and then blacked out. I was pretty much bleeding out. They said that my mom's quick thinking, she like literally ripped her shirt off and tied my arm up and picked me up. It's like I was a big kid too. I was a pretty crazy swimmer, so I don't know. My mom, you know, the mom instinct kicks in, and she saved my life.
uh,
And yeah, I remember waking up in the hospital and they're repairing my whole entire left arm, and I'm just feeling it being tugged on, and I don't know what's happening. You know, I don't feel anything, and my sister's there crying with my dad, and
right.
I guess they just said I was basically like close to dying or whatever because I was a half an inch off my artery right here.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Bleeding out instantly. So that's kind of what was happening, I guess. So 100 stitches and whatever many shots and stuff later, they reviewed there. Lucky I didn't lose it. And I think
Exactly. That's a blessing in itself.
yeah. So, you know, what's strange though is what I remember years. You go through life and you go through experiences, but you don't really think deeply about it. I was like that kid that did stuff until I got severely hurt and didn't do it again. You know, so what's weird is I remember, and I started talking to my mom about this when I was like 30 years old, and I started thinking back on the history and stuff when I was writing a biography on my book and everything about my whole first part of my life. And she was telling me that there was never anyone like hovering over you when we laid you down on the floor inside. It was me and some other lady. They were trying to call the police or whatever, or ambulance. And she said there was nobody else. So that was a strange, recurrence of my memory. And the other thing that happened to me after was my mom said that she would catch me because what they did is they forced me to get back into swimming months later when the stitches and all that came out. They made, which was the best thing ever because it actually strengthened the arm. I got super strong and I went on to break the record for 50 free in the United States at my age.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Yeah. For the next couple of years. So I was 13. I just hated the cold water after, so I quit. I wanted to play every other sport. But what's strange is when I was a little bit like 9 or so, I remember coming home early from school, walking up into my house, this old cul-de-sac in Salem, New Hampshire. And I walked into my house by myself and I saw the shadow man, just completely shadow, dark, standing right there on your sliding glass door. Scared me to death. I ran out of the house in the basement into my neighbor's yard. And then like 2 minutes later, my mom was driving down the road. And I don't it's weird because I know what I saw and I swear it was like, I would claim it to be an apparition today, like a shadow figure. Right.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know the land. The land used to be all woods. I don't know if Native Americans, if someone died there in the past, like whatever, like you start thinking.
Sure.
But the problem too is for me, like kids have crazy imaginations, but you got to believe sometimes how innocent kids are. My daughters are very innocent. My daughter sees stuff all the time and I accept it. Like I listen to her. I talk to her about it. I'm not like, oh, it's your imagination, go away or whatever,
Right.
Like maybe people used to in the 80s or 90s when we were like, come on kid, get out of here, go play in the woods.
Yeah.
My mom would do it. But yeah, I mean, all these weird things. My mom would catch me in my room. She would hear me talking to people, I guess, in my room. And I vaguely remember it. I kind of remember and kind of don't. She said she would come in. It would be surreal, she said. Not just like playing with G.I. Joes or something, like I would do, but she would hear me talking and she would like creep in and open the door and see me in the corner of the room looking up at the ceiling talking to she said I would be talking to angels and stuff like that. And I don't know. So I don't know, just like hearing all these things made me realize like maybe I did tap into something else that triggered and opened up my brain to that other side. Like I skated on that thin ice,
Yeah, exactly.
with death. And maybe I went there and maybe it was, you talk to a lot of people with ND experiences that I have in my life and a lot of people that have kind of gone to that limit and you start to realize that it's all kind of in the same category of people see things differently and have like a sensitivity to like energies or people or just beyond the scope of what we see in our reality, or like like intense visions, stuff like that. So it's just been a part of my life that I think I accept more so now than ever, but that's kind of like what triggered a lot of stuff for my beginning quest. And I don't know, the old saying, some people are destined to do what they're supposed to be doing. And it's like, it's kind of what I've been doing. But
yeah. And I've been fortunate to be one of those people also. I've had, I've had to work during the time and everything else, but I have been able to stay and do the things that I really enjoy doing in life. And, let me ask you a question. Have you ever astral projected?
Yeah, I believe I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, it's strange because I think it's connections too with certain people though. I
Mhm.
think like you I've learned to focus my energy, and I think when you have a strong bond or connection with somebody, you know,
Right.
you're able
Mhm.
to go there like a loved one. You
Yes.
know, like if you have a deep, deep connection with somebody, you're able to like transcend your energy and go there consciously.
Yes. So right.
Just like that, if you believe and you let go, if you let go of like your surroundings, what you think you comprehend, and that's just how I work. And
Hmm.
I have, yeah, I believe I have. But again, like I'm very logical about stuff, and I'll be like, I'll be quick to roll it off or explain it, or I'll be like, no. But honestly, I've had some pretty vivid, like interesting experiences to the point where, I mean, I believe I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Bear just
Yep, he froze
Bear just
again.
astral projected out of here.
Spirit,
Yep.
Yeah.
and you come forward with it and take it from there. It really does come through in that aspect, I think.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can hear him, but we
I hope
can't
we're
see
still
him.
all here again. So,
Yeah, we hear.
There he is.
There you go. You froze time on us.
yeah. Yeah, it's been one of those. It's been one of those things. So, hey, Nick, as we're rounding it up, man, and I'll tell you, I just saw Angel Lee come in. Hi, Angel Lee. How are you? Look forward to talking to you on Monday. Um, guys in the chat room, thank you so much for being here tonight. Any last questions for Nick before we turn it over to him?
It's crazy how the hour has flown by.
Oh man, it's like
Yeah.
going, yeah. I
didn't
mean,
even realize
this is
it's
one of
been an
those
hour.
things where I just should say, well, we're just going to go forever. But I know
Yeah.
you're a busy man and you've got other things going on.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody in the chat room. Nick, what's coming up with Nick Groff, and what are we going to be able to look for in the future? And if you would please give everybody a heads up of where they can get a hold of you and you talk to them. I know you're very personal and you like to speak to everyone as much as you can, and any events coming up also.
Yeah. So you can go to thenickgroff.com. We just launched our whole storefront and everything, and there's going to be a lot of ton of stuff coming there. Join the Facebook group, Nick Groff Explorers. Be a part of that group. I mean, I'm just trying to build a community that's interested in all the same subject and so on. It's really about exploring life. Trying to create this like new bond of generation of people that we can really evolve together, into the
Yeah.
paranormal, the unknown, just anything that fascinates you. But I'm excited about Deathwalker. Some huge announcements coming up for that. Stay tuned. I will announce it on Instagram, Facebook. Just look me up. Make sure you check the correct social media, Nick Groff with the little blue check mark next to it. I do not write like people direct messages where it's like, "Hi, how you doing? I want to be here." There's a lot of fake accounts out there that I heard recently that are going
Yeah.
around. So if you see those, just report them and block them, whatever. It's ridiculous. I'm not asking people for money or stupid stuff like that. So
Yeah.
don't answer
Yeah.
those. But yeah, pretty much thenickgroff.com. Also, we're going to be launching something really big coming up here for the Nick Groff Explorers, and we have a huge contest we're going to be rolling out. I'm working on a really big project for the last five or so years now. Been working with Dan Class over at the Hinsdale House.
Oh, cool. Hindale House, nice place.
It encompasses everything: paranormal, UFOs, cryptids, incredible stories. So stay tuned for that. Been working on that for a long time, and I'm just excited. I'm excited for the future of what's to come. A lot of huge announcements coming up, but I'm really focused right now more than ever. I feel good about it. And
Excellent, man. I'm happy for you, man. It's great to see you that way, and you just exude that energy and that evidence, all that goodness, and it's super. And gosh dang, there's so much I wanted to talk to you about because, I mean, I know you love horror movies. I know you like all the other stuff, and you did a great event not too long ago at the Conjuring House too, and we didn't even get to talk about that. It was a live event. Hopefully, you'll come up and do a live event again. If you're looking for a Halloween live event, maybe you can come to the Octagon Hall.
I would love to, man. I want to get back out there. I really want to go back and I do want to explore some of the Mammoth Caves. I haven't been in the Mammoth Caves since I was like, I think I was 16 years old or something.
Yeah.
Obviously it's close by, but I want to come back to the Octagon Hall, and basically just, I don't know, just stay there a little bit longer. I feel like
Hey,
there's so
yeah,
much
just come on out, and we'll take care of you, and we'll tie a rope around you, and we'll throw you in one of those things that may be connected to Mammoth Cave. See what
yeah,
you
there you
think
go.
about it.
I'll just I'll dig down. I'll dig down. Is some part of the Mammoth Caves underneath the hall there? It is, right?
Yes, yes. St. Mammoth Cave runs all over that area. There are several different cave systems, and it does go underneath the hall. Uh, there's a sinking, little sinking stream. It runs above water sometimes and comes underneath of it, but when it comes that our way, it's underneath the hall. There's a lot of fun information about the hall that we would love to share. And anytime, I got another show coming up here not too long ago. We're trying to put together a roundtable, and you're talking about being over in England. There, I don't know if you've heard about the quantum paranormal fear. This gentleman,
Patrick Jackson.
Thank you. I was tired for that one.
Yeah.
Patrick Jackson, he's going to kill me. Wrote a book on quantum paranormal. I'm thinking about having a roundtable, and if you are up to it, I'll give you a buzz, and maybe you'd like to sit in on it.
Cool.
Because it's a very interesting theory, and it goes where you and I talk with others about something else going on within the paranormal that most people are not looking for. I think you might like to hear about it. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can get something together and talk. And man, Nick, again, thank you so much. Chat room, Nick Groff.
Yeah,
It
thank
was a
you.
pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I would love to. I love the concept about time. I get into the whole notion of time when in Deathwalker and stuff like that, and how what we believe to be ghosts possibly isn't ghosts all the time. It's just a time slip, as like us communicating with one another and the reality of whoever that person is and we are and stuff like that. But yeah, it's very fascinating. I think that's the great thing about the paranormal supernatural. No one has the right answers. It's just a matter of, how far you want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the support. And
Nick, anytime you're more than welcome, and you're always welcome at the hall. And it was a pleasure having you here tonight. I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, Bear.
All right, buddy.
Tanya, thank you.
I'll see you later.
All right, take care.
All right, take care. Thanks again, Nick. Bye. All right, now that was Nick Groff. I hope you guys enjoyed that show. It was a great show. I think that Nick is a very, very special person. He has changed quite a lot through his life, as he said, and we all go through that. That's a part of what we do. I'm going to let Billy kind of take us out, tell us what's coming up on Into the Fire next week and a few weeks in the future.
All right, next week, everybody, we got Greg T.J. Justice, J.B. Coates, the author of the Obsidian novels, and the one and only Candace Weston. That'll be next week, same time, same place. Following week after that, we're bringing back the Fearless Ones in Doogie. And
so you don't want to miss that when y'all got that big event.
That was always fun.
Yeah.
And the following week after that, we're bringing back Chris Garcia, because I believe there was still a lot of questions in that chat room waiting for him.
Yep. So we hope to see you here soon, and we thank you all for tuning in. And I know this is a very strange time. I'm not going to try to talk about that too much, but I hope that everybody is well. Take care of yourself. Be safe. And Into the Fire looks forward to seeing you. All of us look forward to seeing you next week on Into the Fire on Tuesday night. God bless. Have a great night. And thanks for watching.